Realm 2. Time Management for Didactic Classes. Dental school classes can be a beast. 30 plus credit hour semesters can really suck up a bunch of time. Have you ever thought about the fact that pretty much every class you take is 1 hour long? Doesn't that seem funny to you? Wouldn't some topics only take 15 minutes or 20 minutes to learn? Well, some might really need 2 hours or an hour and 15 minutes. Why are all the classes 1 hour? Probably because it's easy for the teachers and the school. Probably not because that's the best way for us all to learn. Learn while you are in class, or don't go. Sitting in an 8 a.m. lecture, you may notice students around you browsing Facebook, playing computer games, checking email, texting on their phones, or slowly tipping backwards ready to fall asleep. What are they doing? In dental school, nobody's going to force you to learn or prod you to pay attention during class. Not your friends, and certainly not your professor. To achieve your full potential, you need to optimize your time. The student who sleeps in class has not only disrupted their healthy sleep cycle to get there, but is also failing to learn anything. This type of student would be better served staying in bed and sleeping, period. Some savvy students that are confident in their academic abilities may recognize that their time is better spent studying in the library than learning in class. Perhaps they don't learn well by listening, or perhaps the professor just reads lecture slides that are available online verbatim. It is your choice to optimize how you spend your time. And always remember that it is your choice. If you are reading this early in dental school, you should probably be attending all classes early on, regardless of your confidence level. Later on, you can determine if attending every single class is the best option for you. The factors that influence this will be if the class has a grade tied to attendance, and if you do in fact learn most efficiently in a group lecture setting. However, if you do decide to attend a class, you have to make it worth your while. It is particularly easy to waste time in lecture-style classes because there is typically no chance of being called upon to answer a question or actively participate. However, the failure to grasp the material during the class period is what leads many students to scramble at the last minute, causing them to feel stressed out, overworked, and pressured as exam time approaches. Most students are simply incapable of getting 4.0s under this kind of pressure. Supposing you allow yourself to daydream and otherwise become diverted during class, this does not change the fact that you are responsible for all of the material presented that day. This does not change the fact that you just burned an hour of your day sitting in class that you got nothing out of. You could have been in the gym, watching a good movie, or heck, actually learning outside the classroom independently. You now must go home to study the same material which you should have already learned that day. You are double studying, or rather deploying double the time studying the same material because you did not learn it when you should have the first time sitting in lecture. Meanwhile, the student who was fully engaged in class is using this same time studying to attain a deeper grasp of the subject, ensuring their A+ on the upcoming exam, or using their extra time to pursue studying business. This is the time that successful students get ahead. The successful student is not working longer or harder, only more efficiently. He or she does not have to restudy what has already been presented. Many students are clock watchers. This type of student frequently looks to the back of the room or their cell phone to glance at the clock, praying that class will be over soon. This is a clear sign of inattentiveness and inefficiency. In order to get the most out of class, it is imperative that you stay completely engaged. This means doing 5 things. 1. Ask yourself questions. Ask yourself questions about the material being presented and write them down throughout the lecture. Walk up to the professor at the conclusion of class and present these questions. By addressing difficulties real time as they come up in the presence of an expert, you'll save much more time in the long run. 2. Actively take notes. If you're taking notes on a laptop, leave your internet browser closed. Some professors provide lecture slides ahead of time, but this is not an excuse to be inattentive. Take note of the points emphasized in lecture and write down anything not already included on the slides. Use shorthand to get down important information quickly. After lecture, review and elaborate on your bullet points. If you feel the professor is moving too quickly, you can ask questions to slow down the pace of lecture and give yourself more time to write down important details. Other classmates might get annoyed if you do this. Who cares? Your question probably just woke them up out of their nap anyways. 3. Be prepared. Come to class after you've already at least skimmed the content and material to be learned for the day. This light preliminary exposure to the material will help to avoid ever feeling lost. Getting ahead now will save you time and stress later. It will also allow you to ask more meaningful questions because you have pre-established foundation of knowledge. You will get much more out of class if the lecture is a review instead of an introduction to brand new material. 4. Don't talk to people during the lecture. If you're sitting next to your friends, save any conversation for after class. Even if you discuss class material, you will likely miss whatever the professor is saying as you try to reason out an answer that the professor can easily answer after class or by raising a hand. On the same note, try to sit near the front of class. You will be able to see and hear the professor more easily, and it is less likely that other students will hold a distracting conversation in your vicinity. 5. Don't be a clock watcher. Do not frequently turn around to look at the clock or check your cell phone. These students focus more on the end of class than on learning the material. Not only will this distract you from the material, but it may distract the professor, causing them to label you as disinterested, disruptive student. These relationships may matter later. Taking the 5 actions above while in lecture will greatly enhance your ability to learn while in lecture. If you're going to commit to show up to class and attend these lectures, you need to be learning during them. Otherwise, going is a massive waste of time and you should stay home, sleep in, go for a walk, or study business. Learn the course material via recording or PowerPoint later on your own time when you will actually be engaged. Always have study material with you. It's the day before your big exam and you're not ready. The amount of time you are given to learn the material just doesn't seem like long enough. Don't you wish you could have 12 extra hours to study for the exam? What about an entire extra day? How about 2? What if I told you there was a way to give yourself several extra days to study without even having to sacrifice your social life, sleep, or extracurricular activities? It's possible. Look no further. Successful students know how to maximize the use of their time. The purpose of always bringing study material with you is not to have your head in a book while your friend is attempting to have a dinner conversation with you. Rather, it is to eliminate lost moments of boredom and idleness. Quiet bus rides or walks on the way to class, downtime while you're waiting for a friend to arrive or a lecture to start, and waiting for an appointment represent periods of time that are short on their own but large in aggregate. Study material is easily portable. You can always carry note cards or a PDF you need to read for a class. While it may seem easy to let that 15-minute waiting period slip by, realize that over the course of the day, this time may add up to an hour in total. This gives you a painless extra hour of studying without having to sacrifice anything. It also serves to keep the material constantly fresh in your mind, which will improve your long-term retention. Heck, you may even want to use that extra time to study business. Students love deadlines. If an assignment is due on December 5th, they know they can start it on December 4th. Although putting work off until the last minute may seem to save time by cramming all of your work into a single night, it ultimately has the opposite effect. Besides the obvious reduction in quality resulting from cramming and inefficient review, you also lose control of your time. When you procrastinate until the last minute, you sacrifice your control over the situation and cause stress. Instead of working on the material when you are healthy, alert, and have the most free time, you force yourself to study when you are tired and fatigued. In addition, you may have to withdraw from social or extracurricular commitments. Making your plan early allows you to dictate the pace at which you study and when exactly you want to work. We control our time. We don't let circumstances control our time.